Hi guys, this is Kirti and today we are going to discuss something about a new topic that is nothing but expressions, right? So what do you mean by expressions in Python? How we're going to use it, how we implement in Python language, that's what we're going to discuss right now. So these are the key points, that is numeric expressions. Starting from the numeric expressions, I would like to tell you that these type of expressions, like see my pointer, that is multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, and that is nothing but modulus. See, modulus is basically used for the remainder. For finding the remainder, we use modulus, right? Now, what is the order of expression, or what is the precedence of it, and how we can solve any numeric expression in Python language? So here is a criteria, like you can see over here, that first of all, we have to solve any question from left to right. And first of all, you have to solve parenthesis, and from left to right, second precedence is of power, third precedence is of multiplication or division, the fourth precedence is of addition or subtraction, and we are basically moving it from left to right. Now, parenthesis is basically brackets, right? So now, as you can see from this example, just see this example and you'll get more clear idea about what expressions are. See, that is 1 plus 2 multiply 3. Now, this is not multiply, that is nothing but 2 raised to the power 3, right? So 2 raised to the power 3 is it upon 4 into 5. Now there is the expression, and how we're going to solve it. Basically, first of all, we have to see that there is no parenthesis over here, right? Now, because there is no parenthesis, so you can actually say that we don't require any parenthesis, and now we can move on to our second level of precedence, that is power. Now, because there is 2 raised to the power 3, that is equal to 8. So in the next line, we have 8 over here. 8 divided by 4 into 5. So because we are moving from left to right, and whatever come first, if in between the multiplication or division, that would be solved first, right? So basically here 1 plus 4, 8 divided by 4, that would be equal to 2 into 5. Next, multiplication would be solved like 1 plus 10, that would be equal to 11, right? So that this is how we are going to make you clear that how this expression has led to the answer, that is 11. So if we have told this Python expression, so it will print X and output is going to be 11, right? So basically, if I'm talking about the human, so human will take my 1 minute to solve it, but computer will basically solve it in just a milliseconds, right? So it doesn't require any of the solution, right? So in the next slide, we are going to discuss about data types matter, right? Now, what do you mean by data types? Data types are basically those particular types in which we write our data, right? If I'm talking about in Java language. So in Java language or in C language or in C++ language, whatever language you have studied till now, you might have seen that there is the need to define the data type before that type is actually used. For example, if there is a particular variable A, and that A variable is initialized with the value, that is 11. So before initializing the value of A, we first have to declare the value of A as it is of integer type, right? So that would be written as int A, and next line that would be equal to A equal to 10, and then we'll be studying about that print A, right? But in this case, you don't need to require to specify the type of a data. Python already knew every type of data over here, right? So basically, how I'm going to prove it, see, Python always knows the type. Python knows you cannot add string to a string. Basically, Python को क्या पता होता है? Basically, Python always know the type of data in which you're entering out. If you're entering a decimal type value, right? So the Python will recognize that it is a float value. If you are adding a particular integer type value, then the Python will understand that yes, it's basically an integer value. And if you are adding a string value, for example, in the previous section, I have discussed to you about the constants part, right? So in the constants parts, what I have discussed, we have print first, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, or 4, 5, 6, 7, that are basically the integer type. And then we have also printed about 4.56, that is 6.78, that is basically a decimal number, and decimal number are considered to be as floating numbers in the Python language. And then we have also discussed about the third part, that is nothing but the hi hello Kirti, or hi WhatsApp. hello world. So basically these are the string types. So Python will actually recognize that yes, this particular data is of the string type, and you don't need to declare any type of data in Python language, right? So yeah, so the one particular thing is clear that we don't need to specify the type of data in Python language, right? So here, as you can see that it is basically written over here that is test equal to hello plus there. And when we print the test, so it will actually print hello there, right? And then we type the function type, right? So type is basically the function in Python language which help us to recognize the type of data in it. So what is the type of the data we are going to do? Like type hello. So that type of hello, that is nothing but string, right? So string is basically the type of hello. And if we if we type that is 1. Now you might be saying that 1 is basically of the integer type, and here the answer which is coming, that is string. Why it is so? Because anything which is included in single quotes or in double quotes, that is considered as string in Python language. May it be integer, may it be anything. So basically we can say that if we specify type slash 1, that would that class would be equal to string, means that type would be equal to string, right? And then basically Python doesn't allow the integer to add on with a string. Python basically allows the addition of two strings. Python allows the addition of two integers, but Python doesn't allow the addition of a string to an integer. It means that if you write, agar hum likhte hain that if you write like that is type hello plus there, right? So uska type आ जाएगा. ठीक है. If you write hello plus 10, so uska type nahi aayega, because it will show you a error, because it will show you the traceback, right? So here, as you can see that Python knows you cannot add 10 to a string. Python actually knows that you can also not add 10 to a string, right? If we want to know the type, then we can ask the Python using the type function. If we want to know the type of a Python language, the type of the data in which we have entered, basically we have to use a function of type, right? So here, as you can see that as I have typed, that is test is equal to test plus 2. So here 2 is an integer and test is a string, and when we are adding both of them, so it is giving us a traceback that no, basically you cannot add string to an integer. So its error is showing that can only concatenate string to string, not integer, right? So basic usage of Python can also be seen over here, that whatever the tracebacks Python gave, it's in a very simple answer, simple traceback. Like you can actually identify the type of the error from this too, right? Now we are going to open our atom, and we'll basically show you, say like, okay, so let us suppose that I have taken a particular variable that is nothing but test, and test is equal to hello, right? And then we have basically printed the type of test, right? So when we have printed the type of test, first of all, as you know that we have to first of all save our file using the extension .py, as we have done it earlier as well. So in the C folder, I'll basically go to the Python language, and then I'll be basically saving that particular file name, that is equal to datatype.py, right? So I'll basically save it. Now, as you can see that the colors are going to show, and now we'll open our command prompt. Now, as soon as we open, first we have to change our directory. How we can change that directory, right? That is C drive, then we have Python language, then we have what? C drive, then Python, right? C drive, then Python. Then we have what? We have datatype.py. So now what you can see over here, you can actually see that it is coming the class string. Means that whatever the type of data I have entered in the test variable, that is hello, and hello is basically a string part. Now if I am saying that if I have, that is nothing but, that is basically num, and num is equal to 1, right? And now I am printing the type of num. Now I have saved it. Now let's suppose that I have typed the command prompt, and now it is what showing is, now see, it's wonderful. It is showing us the class string, and then as the next line is showing us the class int, right? First of all, we have the type of string, and then what we have typed, that is num, and the type of num is basically an integer because it's an integer, so it is showing us the integer value, right? So if now what I do is I have typed a letter, a variable that is nothing but k, and that is equal to test plus 2, right? Basically, now we have printed up the type of k. What I have done is test is nothing but hello, and 2 is nothing but an integer. What I have done is basically we have concatenate, or we are trying to add a string to an integer in Python language, right? So because I am adding a string to an integer, and now I am going to show you the type of that particular variable k. So what I'm gonna show you is it showing us the error or is it running properly, right? So again, I have particular saved the file. Now I'm running it. So as you can see that it is giving us a trace back, right? How it is giving us a trace back? Because we cannot concatenate the string to integer. We can only concatenate a string to a string or an integer to an integer, right? So are you getting my point, guys? So I hope that you're getting my point. And now I think you are much clear about this concept, that what are the data types. And we have also learned about that how we have to calculate the expressions, right? And in the next lecture, I'm going to tell you something about how we can change the type of data, how we do type conversions and string conversions too. So bye bye, take care, see you in the next